right, top of the afternoon to you. It's the game is the game as always. I wanted to talk about Russell Westbrook real quick. He's getting taking a lot of flack. The Clippers are 0-4 to start his tenure, and a lot of people are blaming him. And while I do think he takes some of the blame for it, I think the person to blame is obviously Tyronn Lue. He's the one that's coaching the team. It was his bright idea to make Russell Westbrook a starter off the bat after the team had had its best stretch of play. It was his bright idea to make Russell Westbrook a 30-minute per game player when I theorize he probably should be more of a 20-minute per game player, small ball lineup player. They play him when they play two bigs 90% of the time he's out on the court. And finally, it's his bright idea to have Russell Westbrook closing games where offensively the other team does not guard him, and defensively he gets lost on screens and switches. So one of my favorite basketball quotes from Jeff Van Gundy was, the hardest thing to do as a coach is coach the aging superstar. Russell Westbrook is one of the more talented players that's ever played in our league, a top 75 player, former MVP. He's just a great player. There's no denying that, but he's not what he once was. And as a coach, to tell a guy who's been on the top of the NBA mountain, literally, that, hey, you're not what you used to be. We have to use you in certain stretches, in certain ways, it's kind of hard to do. Now, Ty Lue was brought in because of his time with Cleveland, won a championship with LeBron, and he was known as someone who would challenge LeBron directly. But I have always personally thought, as an actual coach, as an actual X and O coach, he was not the greatest. If you remember the J.R. Smith meltdown, part of that meltdown is Tyronn Lue not calling a timeout when he had a timeout to call. So I think that a lot of this falls on Tyronn Lue's shoulders. You have the players. How do you use them? It's no reason that you get Eric Gordon, someone who fits like a glove next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and he's playing 7 minutes of the game. There's no reason that should happen. There's no reason for Russell Westbrook to play 30 minutes a game. Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook, good, bad, worse. No matter what you feel about him, it's how the coaches deploy certain players. And to bring him into this roster and immediately start him, immediately have him closing games, when the Clippers had played their best stretch of basketball, when the Clippers had just found some continuity, to immediately throw Russell Westbrook into the fire is unfair to the Clippers and unfair to Russell Westbrook. They could have brought him along slowly. He had almost a week, or I believe 2 weeks off of playing basketball before he joined the Clippers. So you could have just easily said, hey, we're going to give him a ramp-up period. Didn't do any of that. Threw him directly into the fire. So if you're going to place the blame on somebody, I think Russell Westbrook, hey, you have to take accountability for the shots that you make and you miss. You have to take accountability for your turnovers. But the true accountability has to be on the man coaching the team, because he has to have the resolve, the strength to say, it doesn't make sense to start you now. Let's bring you along slowly. Let's find some lineups that you work best in, instead of just completely throwing him into the fire and saying, hey, you're going to play as many minutes as Russell, as Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Russell Westbrook, you're going to come in and you're going to be our third most important player. That doesn't make any sense. So let me know what you think. I'm going to throw the Clipper Nation some bail. I'm going to shoot him some bail here. I don't think it's Russell Westbrook's fault. It's the can't get right Clippers. Like I said, they can't get right. And this is another situation where they can't get right, but can be easily fixed if their coach does what he needs to do and coaches the actual team. All right, let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Definitely subscribe. The game's the game.